Alright, next video in the series we're going to be doing is Stability Chronomancer. So, few things I want to talk about with Stab Chrono that's different from Firebrand is your mantra of concentration. You do not want charged before combat. You want to leave it uncharged. Now, the reason for that is because when you charge it, you get 9 seconds of Aegis and 9 seconds of stability at 4 stacks. It's very strong on the charge, and it's a very, very useful skill to use while we are pushing in. So, different from that, your mantra of recovery, you do want charged before combat. You want this charged so that you don't get interrupted while you are charging it, because this is going to be your stun break for you and your allies due to the Relic of Phoebe, however you want to say it. So, the charge action does not break the stuns, it is the use of the charges. Moving on from that, once you are in combat, you've charged your mantra of recovery, I always recommend as a stab chrono to use these charges first in your rotation. So always use charge 1, there you go, some stability, wait until it's flashing, charge 2, then more stability, wait until it's flashing. Alright, now second to that, I would recommend using your Well of Precognition if we're stationary, and vice versa with the charges here. If we're stationary, use the Well first, if we're moving, use these first, vice versa. Just try to use the Well when we are stationary because it does multiple pulses. Now, the reason that I say to use all of these first is because when these are all on cooldown, now you can use your shatters. Now, F1, F2, and F3 are only going to be self-stab. F4 is going to be your big stab to you and your allies, but as you can see there, that gives a lot of alacrity, which decreases the cooldown of these significantly. So now see you're out of stability, go ahead and use your Signet of Illusions, gives you your shatters back and more stability. And now look, you've got a bunch of boons, a bunch of stab, all of these are ready again, at which point you can charge your mantra, more stability, more Aegis, and same thing again, you basically just repeat that rotation now. And if we are stationary, go ahead and use that Well of Precognition. Make sure you do space out your stab. You don't want to overlap it too much. Now we're moving. And mantra again. It's about to run out. Mantra again. And now is where you might find yourself kind of running out of stab a little bit. See, now I've kind of got a gap in some cooldowns here, and I'm stabless. Now, basically, the only thing I have is my stun breaks. Now F4 is back up, and this is back up, but there's a pretty good 5-10 second gap there without any stability. So, moving on from that, how do we prevent that? So, we have to use, as a more advanced Chronomancer, Stability Chronomancer, you have to use your Continuum Split. So, the way this skill works is when you activate it, it will start a rift or a rift wherever you started. And then when it ends, you will return to that rift location. Anything you did in that time period, skill-wise, will be regenerated instantly, with the exception of your mantra of concentration and the consume of your Signet of Illusions. So what does that mean? That means the only skills that your Continuum Split is worth using in combat on is all of your shatters, or your Well of Precognition, or both if you can get them off in time. Now, the time that you have depends on how many clones you have. So this is where, as a Stability Chronomancer, you need to get good at clone generation and know where the skills are that generate clones. One is going to be your Sword 3, another is going to be your Focus 5, another is going to be your Rifle 2, and your Rifle 4. So all of these skills will generate clones, and then while you're in combat, due to the Signet of Illusions passive, you will create a clone every few seconds. So you want to try to make sure that you have at least one clone up, I would recommend. I've found it's not very hard to make sure you have 3 clones up while attacking especially if you're attacking NPCs near you. And that'll give you a whole 6 seconds where you can do anything and have no skill cooldown on those skills. Basically, get them all back again. You get to do them a second time. So this is how you prevent having that little bit of gap in your stability on the stab Chronomancers. Alright, so this is generally how I like to open. I like to use my continuum split as early on as possible. That way I don't have to think about it as much, and you get it back faster because it does have a pretty long cooldown. So, you know, say this is the Lord, we got an enemy group coming up, and you know they're about to come up, you got your clones, you know, making those clones, getting them all up. So now I got a few clones. I'm going to go ahead and open with Continuum Split and my Well of Precognition and all my shatters that I can get off. And now I've got all those shatters back and my well back again. You've got a ton of stability going. That's the best way to open that I've found in practice with this class. And now you can go ahead with your normal rotation, use your mantras. You know, now you've got some stab, but, you know, obviously don't forget to use your weapon skills, because your weapon skills are what's covering you. It's giving you more boons on top. You know, now you can use your well. Keep on using those weapon skills, whatever. Now you can use your shatters again. That F4, remember, is a big stab for you and your allies. And at that point, I would probably use my signet and then charge my mantra for more stability and just hold those for a little bit. Once again, now stability's down, use a mantra, and you know, stability's running out again now, at which point you can pop all your clones again, all your shatters. Stability's starting to run out. Oh look, you got a well back. And your F1 comes back pretty quickly. I recommend using that almost off cooldown just for the alacrity that it gives. And oh look, you got another charge back. And that's pretty much the rotation there. You just got to make sure that you fit in Continuum Split when it's up and use it for the extra skills. And that's really the best way to maximize this class.